Okay, guys, story time on the time that I actually fucking lost my mind over a man. And when I say lost my fucking mind, like, I'm not joking. This is the most desperate fucking thing I've ever done. And that says a lot coming from me, okay? And I've only ever told one person this, that person being my best friend. And I, with the exception of her, I thought I would take this to the fucking grave. But I'm obviously putting it out on the internet where my future employer can probably see this. But I don't care. I've stopped giving a fuck. And I consider all of us to basically be like besties. So, like, literally get to know me while I tell you about the time that I did fucking voodoo to get a man to like me. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna preface by saying that I really fucking like this man, and this man literally did not like me at all. Like, he did not fucking like me, but I was determined. I was like, no, this is something, like, we're meant to be. We're fucking, like, in my little, like, demented psychotic brain, I was like, no, we're fucking meant to be. And you can't convince me otherwise. So one day I'm fucking laying in bed, right? Rotting, depressed as fuck, just scrolling on TikTok, like, why can't he just fucking like me? Like, I need him in my life, like, you know? And I can't even say this seriously. Like, this is so fucking bad. Like, what is fucking wrong with me? But anyway, I'm scrolling on TikTok and I come across this fucking video. And the video is like, you want him to like you? Make this honey spell jar and he will never be able to, like, leave you alone. And I was like, bet. You don't even have to say any more. Like, literally, what do I need? I was about to get out of bed and go to the fucking store. Like, I'm making this fucking jar. Like, what the fuck, okay? Like, I was like, let's do voodoo to get him obsessed with me. And instead of being a normal fucking human being and being like, oh, like, let me, like, ask him, like, maybe he does like me. Maybe, like, we could, like, we could be a thing. No, I didn't ask him and never asked him. I was just like, no, honey spell jar is perfect. So the video was like, all you need is honey, fucking herbs, like oregano, tarragon, like herbs, pen, paper, and like tranquil music and a jar. And I was like, shit, I have all of that right now. I don't even need to go to the store. So I run my ass to the kitchen cabinet and I'm getting all the fucking spicy herbs, okay? Like, I'm getting all the herbs. Like, we're about to make some fucking, like, soup. We're not about to make soup. We're about to literally dabble in fucking witchcraft. I can't say this seriously. So I get all of the equipment. I'm done being depressed. Like, I'm like, it's time to, we're gonna get this job done, okay? Like, I'm gonna do this and he will never be able to leave me alone. It didn't work. Anyway, so I lock myself in my fucking room. I grab my pen and paper and I start fucking writing. And when I say I start writing, I'm writing down like psychotic shit, okay? And one of the like very clear instructions that this girl provided for the people was like, don't write anything like that's supposed to control the other person. Like, you're only supposed to write like happy things, like, oh, like, I wish him happiness and health, like, I want a new job, I want maybe more money, no, like, stuff like that. But in my own little psychotic, twisted, fucking obsessed brain, I took it as like a, he will love me forever, he will never leave me, like, I need him desperately, like, literally some like fucking psycho shit, okay? So I start writing, the tranquil music is going, like, it's like, ah, like, shit like that. And bitch, I can, as I'm doing this, like, I'm really thinking, like, my third eye chakra is fucking opening. Like, I'm on my witchcraft shit. Like, literally, what is fucking wrong with me? So I'm writing. I write a fucking essay at this point, and I put my little spell in the jar, and I'm like, okay, like, depression has, like, left me. I'm like, we're good to go. Like, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, and, like, he's gonna be like, baby, I need you. Like, what the fuck? Also, before I did this, I went on a deep dive, like, TikTok search of, like, other videos talking about this, like, voodoo spell jar, because I was like, I don't want bad karma. Like, I don't want to die tomorrow. Like, I need to know, like, if this is legit. And, of course, all the videos I saw, and me also being very, like, delusional at this time in my life, all the videos were like, no, like, girl, it'll work, but you have to make sure. And when I say this is my downfall, basically, they were like, you have to make sure that, one, you get basically like an ancestor of one of the witches or something that invented this voodoo spell to give you like permission to do this. And if you can get permission, like, don't do it, or like buy it off somebody like on fucking Etsy or something. And I was like, bitch, I don't have time to get permission. I don't have time to wait for like the Etsy shipping. Like, I need him obsessed today, okay? So I was like, I'm not getting any fucking permission. So yeah, that left the window already. So bad karma was on my way. Also, they mentioned that, like, once you make this spell jar, and if it works or if it doesn't, whatever, and whenever you want to, like, cut your ties or something, you have to make sure that you break it. Like, you have to, like, yeet, like, throw it on pavement or something and shatter the jar. Or, like, if you throw it out without doing that, it could give you, like, lifelong terrible karma. Okay? And I was like, okay, like, bet, like, I'm gonna make sure to, like, hide this and like never let anyone find it, obviously, and I'm gonna make sure to dispose of it properly. And I was like, okay, like we're good to go, obviously. So the jar is done. I put it under my like bathroom sink because I'm like, okay, like no one ever goes in my bathroom sink besides me. Like obviously this is the best hiding place for it, right? And as time goes on, he's not obsessed with me and I'm becoming more delusional by the fucking day, okay? Like this jar is like low-key not fucking working in my favor at all. And I'm like, one day, like time has went past and like I'm going under my bathroom sink to like look for like lotion or like fake tan or something, whatever. And I'm scrounging around. And I'm like, where is this fucking voodoo spell jar that I made? As like a normal person would obviously think, like, where's my voodoo spell jar? So I'm scrounging. I'm like, where the fuck is it? Like, I'm actually scared. Because now I'm like, who the fuck went into the bathroom sink where it was supposed to be hidden? Because I sure as fuck did not throw the spell jar out. I didn't. So I go around asking each of my fucking family members, like, have you seen like a little brown jar, like a fucking tweaker? And obviously I was not going to tell anyone what was in the jar because like if I told my mom, she would have sent me to the fucking mental hospital. Like she would have been like, bitch, you have mental problems. Like you need a straitjacket. Like get the fuck away from me. But I was like, Mom, have you seen like a little brown jar? Like, and she was like, yeah, like I threw that out like a few weeks ago. And I was like, ma'am, come again. Like what, you threw that out. And she doesn't even know what she's done to me because in my little delusional brain, I was actually terrified. Like I was fucking terrified for months on end. Low-key, I still am. That this jar, because it was not disposed of properly, like the voodoo, the karma, is all gonna come crashing down, like to me. And I'm not joking. I lost sleep over this shit. Okay, like literally lost sleep. Like I would not go to sleep without being like, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and like die because of this like voodoo jar. Like why did I fucking dabble in like fucking voodoo? Like why did I do this shit? Like what is wrong with me? Like literally lost sleep over it. And anytime something bad happens to me today, I'm like, no, this is literally karma from that voodoo jar that I made. So yeah, that is literally the time that I actually fucking lost my mind over, man. And I genuinely think this is like the most psychotic thing I've ever done because I refuse to believe that there's other people doing this. So yeah. So if like literally I die tomorrow, just know that it's because of this voodoo spell jar that I made because of a man. So yeah.
Guys, this is how our aunt was doing witchcraft voodoo on us, and how we found out will shock you. Story time. So my mom received a phone call from her sister back home saying that this family friend of ours, we've known this woman for a very, very long time. Hence the reason why we call her auntie, but she's not really our aunt. And if you're from Africa, you would understand. Anyway, she said the woman had an opportunity to come here in England. So she's got no one. And if my mom could host her until she get on her feet. My mom has got a kind heart, a heart that situations like this, she can never say no. So she said yes. Knowing very well that our living situation at the time wasn't the best. We lived in a 2-bedroom house. Myself and brother shared 1 bedroom. The other one, my mom and dad shared that bedroom. So all our living situation was going to be rearranged completely, you know, to make our auntie feel comfortable. Anyway, she arrived. My mom asked myself and brother to, you know, sleep in their bedroom with our dad. So our dad slept on the bed and we had like, you know, little mattresses, which we laid on the floor, basically. My mom then shared a bedroom with this auntie because she didn't want her to lodge on the sofa because she wanted her to feel comfortable as a guest and she didn't want any complaints. Anyway, fast forward. After this woman arrived, things were okay. A few months into her arrival, this woman, she didn't go out. She practically just lived at home all the time. I don't know why. I didn't even know what her purpose of being here was because this woman practically stayed at home, you know, pretty much all day. She might have gone out here and there when we weren't around. We went to school and my mom and dad had to work as well. They work nights, you know, shifts and they rotate early. So it's like they're never at home. We would just go to school, come back, sometimes go to friends' houses. Anyway, long story short, we started noticing weird things happening in the house ever since she arrived. Tell us why. We would be in like very, very deep sleep to the point that sometimes we would miss school. My mom, a few times, she's actually been late for work. And this is not like us, because normally we weren't like this. We were fine until she arrived. Anyway, you could say that maybe we're just tired, but let's put that aside. Tell me why. My mom decided to clean the house one day and she's cleaning the bedroom that herself and my aunt was sleeping in. My mom hasn't got time. So normally she doesn't clean under the bed because she's got a guest, she just wanted to make it, you know, clean and comfortable for her. And she decided to clean under the bed. That day, that aunt wasn't at home. Then my mom saw some charms under the bed on the side that my mom sleeps on and not on our auntie's side. My mom flipped. She called us and she showed us it. And we prayed. When she got back, my mom just didn't have the heart to ask her because she didn't want her, to start saying that we accusing her or, saying that she's doing something. But then later on, my mom thought, I'm going to clean the whole house. So my mom checked in cupboards, in unusual places. These charms were placed all over the house. So at this point, my mom said, I need to confront her. She asked her, and guess what she said? She said, yeah, it's voodoo, it's witchcraft, but it is not to harm anyone in the house. It's just to protect all of you. My mom said, but we've never asked for protection. Why do you need to put that? And if you have to put that, why didn't you ask us first before putting that there? He kept on saying, oh, this is just for protection. You're overly reacting. You're just thinking things too much. I was just doing this out of my kind heart to protect you guys. So my mom just didn't say anything and said, we need to get rid of it. She did, and she prayed over it. Yeah, so one day I had gone to a friend's house and I was returning back home late. It was midnight. You might say, why are you coming back home that late? But my friend didn't live far from us. Guess what? I saw our aunt stood in the middle of the crossroad and she was pouring something that looked like water over herself. I didn't know what she was doing and I didn't want her to see me. So I had to hide just to watch what this woman was doing. And then she took a piece of item of hers and she left it in the middle of that crossroad. Then she walked just straight and she never even turned to look back around. I do not know what this woman was up to or what she was doing, but people, wow. So a few days after my mom confronted her, she planned on moving out, but she didn't even tell my mom. She waited until mom and dad left for work. My brother went to school. That day I wasn't feeling well, so I was at home. I woke up to this woman standing over my head, which freaked me out more because I didn't even know how long this woman was stood over my head. I jumped and I asked her, I said, Auntie, is everything okay? Do you need anything? Her reply was, oh yeah, I found my own place and I'm moving now. So I've come to tell you so you'll tell your mom and dad when they return back. I was like, okay. Before I could even ask where she was moving to, this woman left without even telling me anything. So my mom and dad came back. I told them and they said, okay. She didn't even bother to ring them to tell them where she was moving. But we decided to move to a bigger house. This is a few years after this whole incident. And guess what? There were even more charms that she had left in the house. So people, be careful who you host. Be careful who you trust. Even your own family members would do you dirty. In this case, you might say, yes, she's not a family member, but we saw her, we took her as a family member, and this is how she repaid us. So be careful out there, people. I'd like for you to comment. Let me know what you think about this whole story. What would you have done if that was you in our situation, in this situation? What would you have done? Please drop that down in the comment section below.
Let me give y'all a little story time where I gotta stop messing with the chosen ones. Okay? You gotta stop messing with the spiritualists or root workers or voodoo or Iba or Ifa, whatever. Because a lot of people don't understand. We do not have to go do no root work. We ain't gotta go do no hexes, no curses or nothing for you to have your life go downhill. Okay, so boom, 4 I think this was in 2022. Okay? Me and this guy was together, right? Mind y'all, his baby mama did not like me. She kind of hated my guts. She did not like me, okay? So this girl would basically harass me. She would do everything up and above, and it took so much out of me to not really do something to this girl, and I'm not talking physically, I'm talking spiritually. I said, you know what? I'm gonna let God handle it. This girl's just miserable. She's gonna learn that she's just really acting dumb over a man that obviously is not trying to leave me alone, because there's no pressure about no man but with me. So boom, she kept harassing me. Me and this girl, we ended up getting in a fight. It was a whole fiasco. Ended up having to go to court, yada yada, all that good stuff. I was on probation. That's that. So boom, why after it was 2022, he hit me up back 2024, 2 years later. Okay, mind you, before this, I did say a little prayer. I was like, God, ancestors, whoever listening to me, I need whatever they did to me to come back to them tenfold, and I want the repercussions to last forever. Okay? I want them to I want you to remind them why you don't mess with chosen ones. 2 years later, he hits me up. He tries to reconnect. I wasn't feeling, but he tries to reconnect. Okay, cool. He just started telling me, he was like, Kaya, what voodoo did you do? I said, I didn't do nothing to y'all. My hands are clean. He was like, everything that could have possibly went wrong. She has been doing horrible. She's been getting embarrassed on live and stuff like that. Remind you, this girl was on live when she came to fight me, so it was kind of embarrassing. She's been all on the internet getting her butt dragged. He said, my money ain't been right. I had to pay for all her legal fees, so I was out of this, I was out of that. I got in a car accident, and in that car accident, y'all, he got this big old scar going across his face now. That is just there. He can't get rid of it. He's a handsome guy, so now he has this scar. And every time he looks at that scar on his face, it reminds him of me. Because everything went down like right after all that happened. And he was just like, Kaya, what did you do? He kept pressing me. I'm like, sir, I did not do anything to you. That was all on y'all. Y'all messed with me and y'all got the repercussions. I did not put anything on y'all, I promise. To this day, he don't believe me, but stop messing with people, man. Leave people alone. You don't know who people got on their spiritual teams. Leave people alone.
Okay, y'all, let me tell you about the lady who put voodoo on her husband and then her. So Tracy and Rich, they were a very successful young couple. Tracy owned a really huge design firm, and her husband, he owned a Fortune 500 company, very wealthy. They didn't have any children together, nor did they have any outside of each other. Tracy was a bit obsessed with her husband. Like, she would accuse him of cheating, and this man was strictly for her. He loved that lady. So other people used to be confused, right? They used to be like, why does she act like that? So she would like pop up on him like, where's the girl at? I know it was a girl here. There's no way, you alone. And it's like, accuse him of messing with his secretary. So let me tell you what he did. Every time she would have an insecurity, he would do her one better. He would be like, you know what? I want you to be the liaison between me and my secretary, just to prove to her there was nothing going on. He loved her dearly. I mean, he cherished her. He would sit and just stare at her and admire how beautiful she was. Like, he loved every bit of her. I mean, he would compensate her in every single way, right? And so her insecurities just grew worse and worse and worse. So there was a lady named Mama Newt who did voodoo. So she went to Mama Newt and asked Mama Newt if she could do a spell for her husband, to keep him with her and eyes only for her. No other woman could ever interfere between them. Like, no other woman he was romantically involved with, and no other woman, period. So Mama Newt said, I can't just do it just to do it. What is your reason? She said, he cheats on me a whole lot repeatedly. Although, y'all, this man never cheated on this woman. This woman just was super psycho and just insecure. But she lied and told Mama Newt that. So of course Mama Newt did the spell. So before Mama Newt did the spell, she said, do you want to know the gray area before I do this? Because this is permanent and it can't be undone. And she was like, no, because nothing's more grayer than my man having eyes for somebody else. So Mama Newt said, okay. Mama Newt did the spell. So over time, at first she didn't really see any results. She went back to Mama Newt hooping and hollering. And Mama Newt just looked at her like she was crazy and was like, child, give it time. Sooner than later, her husband became obsessed, always wanted to be around her, never really wanted to go to work. He was just super obsessed with her. Everywhere she went, he wanted to go. Everywhere he went, she had to go. And at first she was loving it, but then after a while, you know how that be, she was over it. She didn't like it no more. So he became so obsessed with her that he couldn't even work. He couldn't focus on nothing but her all day, day after day. So eventually he lost his Fortune 500 company. Her company went to smithereens. It's like they end up just being poor. So she goes back to Mama Newt and was like, what happened? What did you do? And she was like, I actually just want to know the gray area, but you did it in the gray area that you would have him all to yourself, but your life would change in a drastic way. And this is the change. You guys will be poor together because all you was focused on, was your main thing, was him being in love and obsessed with you and not having eyes for nobody else, which he already was, y'all, but she act like she didn't know that. So time went on and she was like, she couldn't take it no more. She couldn't be poor. You know, like, she's lost everything. She started to resent him. So she decided to pack her bags one day and leave him. So as she walking out the door, he comes out of the back room just like quietly. And he's like, you're leaving? Where you going? So as he's saying this, he's putting on his shoes and grabbing his coat. Because remember, y'all, they can't go nowhere without being together. And she was like, I'm leaving. I'm gone and I'm done with this. And it was a little tussle for a minute. And she kind of fell. She was trying to run up the stairs. He pulled her back down. She fell, and then he landed on top of her. And when he's on top of her, he's trying to kiss her. He's talking about how much he loves her. And she's really irritated, so she's trying to fight him off at this time. So when he looked, as she's trying to fight him off, he says, oh, you're really leaving. You really don't want to be here. You're really not coming back. And she was like, yes, I'm done. And he was like, oh, I couldn't live without you. Nobody else could have you. You were made for me. God made you for me. And shot this lady in the head. After he shot her in the head, he laid down there. His obsession still took over him, and he was just like kissing her while her hair was bleeding out. He was kissing her, and he was like getting up under her shirt, like trying to put his head up under her shirt, like almost trying to get in her body. And then he was like, I'll never live without you. Not this lifetime, not the next lifetime. Everywhere you go, I will go. And the man shot himself in the head and killed him. And I know y'all ain't never heard of that story before, because I just made it up.
If your baby daddy ex texts you and say she finna put voodoo on y'all, what you gonna do? Yes, so I am back with another story time, y'all. We're gonna call her Rhonda, so let's not waste no time and get into it. So Rhonda started her pregnancy off being homeless. Now down the line, James and Rhonda end up getting an apartment together where they welcomed their beautiful little girl. So things is going good until it was not. So about a month after their daughter was born, James and Rhonda got into a really, really nasty argument. And it led James to calling his ex-girlfriend India. So while Rhonda and James is on this break, James is indulging into his ex India. Now that didn't last long. So James and Rhonda end up rekindling, getting back on good terms, and started dating again. So while James was asleep, Rhonda went through his phone and got India's number and started texting India from her phone. So pretty much Rhonda is telling India, like, he's using you for your money. He has no intentions on being with you for real. Like, he's never going to leave me. She's just texting India all this stuff. Now, India was already in her feelings and jealous at the fact that James even had a baby with Rhonda. So as they're going back and forth arguing, saying this and saying that, India says, and I quote, "You better leave me alone before I put voodoo on y'all." Rhonda said ever since she sent that text message, everything in their life has fallen apart, down to every aspect. Love life, financial life, mental health life, everything down the drain. Now their arguments are getting worse and worse and worse. And they bicker and argue just about every day at this point. Oh, India also told her in the messages that James is going to go back to doing candy again. And sure enough, this is exactly what happened. He spiraled and went back to doing candy. And you know what I'm talking about. Not only to top that off, their apartment complexes kept violating them back to back to the back, to the point where they was finna get kicked out. That doesn't even top it off, y'all. CPS came in and took this woman kids. They ended up doing a test and took her hair follicles and found all kind of candy in her hair. And she says she's never done that before. So after the kids get taken, James ended up having a warrant reappear for a situation that he already dealt with. So all of these bad things are still happening to Rhonda to this day. She says she has went to a metaphysical shop. She has got all type of herbs and saw and did so many spiritual baths, but nothing has worked. She's still going through everything right now, y'all. He's still on candy. He's actually locked up at the moment. She said no matter how much they try to work and rekindle this relationship, it has never gotten better. And also, she's still fighting to get her kids back from CPS. To end it off, Rhonda did receive an eviction notice about a week ago. And she wants to share her story out to you guys to get you guys' opinion on if India really did put work on her. Is this why she's going through her situation? She would love to hear you guys' opinions, what you guys think she should do, what's her next step, because she said at this point
She's exhausted her options, or all the options that at least that she knows about, and she really needs help from y'all. So again, y'all, please be mindful in your comments. Do not judge anyone's situation, okay? And again, if you have a story that you want to submit, you can email it to me at the email in my bio, or you can send me a DM, okay? If you want your story to be on a podcast, make sure you send your story to this email right here, newsandinfo@trippingwithtrimmy.com. You will hear it on a podcast every Tuesday, 6 a.m. Submit your stories. I'll be back with another.
Can you imagine having voodoo done on you just because you're kind? There was this lady, and she was like the nicest person you could meet in the whole entire world. She would give you the jacket off of her back. One of her neighbors didn't like that, only because she was nice. Like, the fact that she was so nice bothered them so much that they wanted to harm her. And mind y'all, this story is coming from them, like the witch herself. She's no longer a witch. This was when she was younger, but she remembered hating that neighbor just because she was so nice. And she said she done tried about anything she can think of to take her out, but just couldn't. Like, she was so protected that she couldn't get near her to even try to do anything bad to her. And that pissed her off even more. This isn't a long story or anything, but that person basically told me that story to basically say that you can literally be doing nothing. You can be the nicest person in the world and somebody could hate you just because you're nice. Depending on how protected you are determines whether they'll probably succeed or not. But I just wanted to quickly come on here and say that it's not always you. Sometimes your light shines so bright that other people are going to want to dim it because they feel theirs being dimmed.
Never accept jewelries from strangers, and after you hear this story, maybe I might convince you. So we're gonna call the person who submitted this story Joelle. This happened to her in Cap Haitien. So Joelle usually goes back and stays in Haiti during the summer, and what ended up happening to her was horrifying, to say the least. So in Cap Haitien, she's shopping at this local market when this old woman stopped her. She had on this head wrap that nearly covered her eyes and like this weird raspy voice. She walked up to Joelle, grabbed her hand, and said, "You have a kind heart. Let me give you something." Before Joelle could even respond, the woman slid a delicate gold ring onto her finger, and she said it had a deep red stone, almost like the color of dried blood. Joelle tried to take it off to get a closer look, but the woman whispered, "It chooses you." And then she walked off and just vanished into the crowd, just like that. So Joelle didn't think anything of it, just kept going about her day. That night, Joelle started having vivid dreams of a woman crying underwater. This dream just kept reoccurring, and each night the woman got closer. Her skin was pale, her eyes wide open, her mouth was full of what looked like seaweed, and every time Joelle would wake up gasping for air as if she had been drowning. Then things got worse. Mirrors around her started to crack when she passed. Her plants that she had in that house withered. The family dog just started acting weird. This dog wouldn't go near Joelle, not even when she had food. Now Joelle says she wouldn't have suspected anything. But the weird thing was, every morning that she woke up, it seemed like that ring on her finger, the innocent little delicate ring, was getting tighter by the day. And it was getting so tight, at some point it looked like her finger started swelling up. So she tried to cut it off. When she tried, she heard a whisper in her ear, saying, "You belong to me now." And accepting this little ring went on to cost Joelle so much of her life that seriously, you couldn't even predict what happened next. If you want to hear more about Joelle's hauntings, how she was able to successfully get rid of this ring and whatever energies came with it, you're gonna have to comment part 2. I might actually just drop part 2 on my YouTube channel before I drop it on here. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. And if you're wondering about my hair in these curls, it's Mish Beauty. Okay, I'll see you guys in part 2.
Story time on how my stepsister tried to put a spell on my family. I don't know, I was like 14 or 15 years old. I just remember I was in like the 8th grade. My mom was dating this guy who worked out of town, and he wanted to visit her for a couple of weeks since he was off. Now, he would come frequently because they had just started dating maybe a year before that. But this time was different because he wanted my mom to meet his daughter. He had a son and a daughter. His son was with another woman and his daughter was with another woman. So he had 2 baby moms. His daughter was the same age as me. So he talked to my mom to make sure that it was okay for her to come and stay with us for the time that he was going to be staying with us since he was off of work, which was about 2 weeks. Of course, my mom, being the person that she is, she was okay with it. She was like, yeah, bring her. You know, this will be the perfect time for us to meet since we're all going to be a family. Now, on top of me and my brother staying with my mom also had one of her younger sisters staying with her as well, who had 3 daughters. So it was a total of about 8 people living in the house. So the first night that my stepsister got to my mom's house, it was so fun. We laughed, we talked, we met each other. My mom cooked a big dinner. We watched a movie all together as a family, including my mom's sister and my 3 cousins. When it was time to go to sleep, my mom went to her room, we went to our room, and we went to sleep. My mom is the type of person that throughout the night, sometimes she get up and she will check her house to make sure things are how they are supposed to be. Well, as she was passing down the hall, she noticed that in my room, she could see her boyfriend's daughter, which is my stepsister at the time, was on her phone. Mind you, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, so at those hours, you know what black people say, ain't nothing open but legs. So, of course, she told her to give her the phone, and she took the phone to her dad, letting him know that she had been on the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning. My observation is that it was nothing but God that allowed my mom to, you know, come across that issue. So when she gave my stepdad the phone, he immediately went through it because he was like, why is she up at 4 o'clock in the morning on her phone? And anybody that knew him knew he did not play games. He was not a patient man when it came to BS and, you know, getting over on him. He didn't take that shit lightly. So when he went through the phone, he seen that basically she had like a whole junior SEX ring going on. Basically, had been talking to multiple guys. Some were older than her, way older. One, she was trying to set up like for him to come over and her to sneak out the house to go meet him or something like that. But little did she know my mama did not play that shit at all. So her dad, the next morning, he was so upset. He was upset because he felt like my mom, you know, her kids wasn't giving her them kind of problems. And so for him to bring his daughter, and this is the kind of stuff that she had going on the first night that she got there, it kind of pissed him off. So we were all in the living room watching TV. He and my mom was in my mom's bedroom. He came into the living room and he ended up reprimanding her in front of everybody, all 8 people in the house. Told her ass up. So as the day went by, we noticed that she was, you know, standoffish. Didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to talk to my mom, didn't want to talk to anybody, honestly. It almost looked like she was planning her escape. I ain't lying. So I don't remember if it was a couple days passed by or that same day. But her dad ended up deleting all the men, boys, whatever that was in her phone. All that garbage that she had going on. He ended up deleting it and cleaning it out. And he gave her phone back because her mom gave her that phone to keep in contact with her, you know, talk to her, call her, stuff like that, which is totally understandable. Well, when he gave her the phone back, this is where things took a turn. Now, let me give y'all a little background. He's Honduran. His baby mother, which was her mom, was Haitian. So she, you know, is mixed with. My mom was looking for one of her brushes to brush her hair. We ended up all looking for our brushes to brush our hair. No brushes in the house was in sight. None could be found. My aunt's brushes was gone. My brother's brushes was gone. My brushes was gone. My mama's brushes was gone. So everybody in the house was in a frenzy like, what the fuck is these brushes? Like, this shit is strange. My aunt needed her brush because she had 3 girls and she had to comb their hair. Couldn't find them. Just a side note, we all wore weave. Me, my aunt, my mom, okay? My little cousins, they didn't wear weave. They wore their natural hair. They were like little kids, literally. So I didn't really care because I had claw clips and stuff like that. I just put my hair in a ponytail. And I really was the type of person, I still am, I really didn't stress about shit that I couldn't change. I couldn't find the brush. Okay, whatever. But it was strange. My mom, she's the type of person, when something is out of place or out of whack, she finna get to the bottom of it. So she didn't too much stress about it, but she was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where's these brushes? So she just started, looking around the house and stuff like that to see where these brushes were, because she was like, I know I had my brush. Maybe I misplaced it. I don't remember. I haven't used it in a couple days, but I don't ever get rid of my brushes. Like, where's my brush? I don't lose my brushes. So she happened to clean her room. She rearranged some things, moved some things around, stuff like that. When she got under her bed to clean her shoes and stuff like that, straighten them up, she felt under there to move some shoes, and she noticed all of the brushes under the bed. She pulled them out from under the bed, and she was just in awe. The reason she was in awe is because my family have a heavy Creole background. Not Haitian Creole, but French Creole. My grandmother's ancestors, they are very familiar with that. So it was passed on down, the information and things and ways they would, perform voodoo and whatever else. It was passed down to the generations on how that kind of stuff happened. So my mom was very familiar with, what was going on, or at least she thought she knew. So she immediately, called me and was like, come here. So she tells me about these brushes that was under the bed. And I was in awe, like, what the fuck is going on? But me, I'm very nonchalant. So you can tell me something, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other if it's not something that I'm interested in. So I just was like, what the fuck? And kept it pushing. Like I said, my mom is the type of person to dig into shit. So she knew that, we didn't do that kind of shit, because we just, when you live with somebody, they ain't doing that kind of shit. It's certain stuff, that they are not doing or they not on. And then when certain stuff start happening out the blue, when other people come around, yeah, you know what the fuck is going on. So she immediately talked to my stepsister's dad and told him that she found her brushes under her bed. He immediately knew what the fuck was going on. Him and her had a relationship where they were really open with each other. And then on top of that, he was also a very open person and very blunt and could be very rude. So he immediately told her, her goddamn mother, like her mama is behind this. So they pretended that, everything was fine. My mom cooked dinner, and he did explain to my mom that her mom was into voodoo. That was one of the reasons why he left her. So at the dinner table, her dad, my stepsister's dad, asked her to give the phone to him again. She hesitated. She looked, like, what's going on? He kind of got upset because she hadn't given it to him, like, right away. So when she finally gave him the phone, he goes to the phone, and he see that she had been texting her mom and telling her mom about what happened about my mom catching her on the phone in the middle of the night. Her mom immediately tells her to go and get something personal of ours that she could use to perform a ritual on. She named some things, and basically my stepsister found what she thought would be the best thing to use, which was the brushes. But little did she know that those brushes had weave hair in them. None of them had real hair. When the old people say burn your hair because people can use them for rituals and voodoo, or don't throw your hair outside because birds will use them to create a nest and peck at your brain. He ended up reprimanding her again and taking her home. He also apologized to my mom because it was wow, what the fuck happened, and embarrassing. Of course, my mom did hug her and let her know, she's sorry she didn't have a good trip, but that was...
Okay, I've always been told never go to the end of Bourbon Street. And I really want to know if anybody else has any stories or experiences about them going to the end of Bourbon Street. I'm going to tell y'all mine. So recently we took a trip to New Orleans, which we go all the time. I'm from Mississippi, so that's like going around the corner for us. So we were on Bourbon Street, and we were just walking, minding our business. And you know how you just get distracted. I knew we shouldn't be down there, but we make it to the end of Bourbon Street. It's like time slowed all the way down. And it was already eerie. I don't know if it was because it was Easter, but it's just like it got real weird real fast. So this is not funny, but I realized we were there, and there was this mental person. He came like right up behind us. Like, why would you be scared of a mental person? But it was them, like him talking to himself, coupled with the chill, and just it was like a few people at the end of the street. And so I looked at my fiance, and we both were like, nah, let's turn around. And all I could do was hear my family like saying, never go down there. And an ignorant way that I've heard, people will be like, oh, don't go down there because that's where the gay people are. Gay people are not going to bother you. There's something supernatural going on. And I wasn't scared because, like, I'm a pretty, like, spiritually protected person, so that wasn't the problem. But when you know you need to get up out of somewhere, like, I felt the angels and God being like, turn your ass around. Because I've heard people getting card shuffled really bad at the end of Bourbon Street. But I done got shuffled on Bourbon Street, but it wasn't that big of a deal because it wasn't life-threatening. It was just a building that was there, and then it wasn't there anymore. So I'm wondering, do you have any stories about the end of Bourbon Street, and can anybody, like, clarify what's going on down there?
Louisiana voodoo story. I'm going to tell y'all a story today about my family and its Shreveport ties. And one of the stories that I heard from my uncle while in Shreveport, Louisiana. So y'all know that my dad is from Shreveport, and anytime we had a family reunion, it was always in Shreveport. So when I was young, we were always going back and forth from Oklahoma to Shreveport to meet up with family, to have family reunions. Sometimes we would just go down there to get local food from the local market. Well, one time we went down to Shreveport. My whole family went from the ones that lived in Oklahoma. We all traveled to Shreveport to get ready for the family reunion. And I was young around this time. I was probably about 15, 16 years old. So we go down to Shreveport for the family reunion, and mind you, on my dad's side, there's 11 of them. So my dad has 10 siblings. So in total, there's 11 children. And I have an uncle, I'm not going to give his name, but a lot of the men in my family are kind of like womenizers. They're like, you know, they have multiple women, they have different dealings and things like that, you know, that's how they deal with women. So I have this one uncle, and while we were down in Shreveport, he decides to go out on the town, see what's going on the town. My uncle was probably like 30 years old at this time. So he goes out at night, you know, one evening he meets a young lady. So he thinks the lady, you know, she's a pretty lady, you know, he kind of wants to get to know her. So they decide to meet up. She gives my uncle her address, and she tells my uncle, hey, meet me at my home. We're going to hook up, meet up, and we'll get together. So my uncle's like, you know, she's hot. She's fine, dude. Like, I'm finna go holler at this girl. You know, this is what my uncle told my other uncles, his brothers. Like, man, she's so hot. I'm finna go meet up with this girl and see what's up. So my uncle says he pulls up in the driveway. You know, everything's normal. He knocks on the door, and she lets him in. So when she lets him in the house, you know, this is a black lady. My uncle says she's very beautiful, very pretty. So he was really excited to go out with her. So she lets him in the house. And when she lets him in the house, she says, oh, you can have a seat right here in the front room. I'm just going to go back and get freshened up. And then, you know, I guess they were going to go out or whatever they were going to do. Who knows? So she goes back. She's getting herself together. My uncle's sitting in the living room. He's just waiting. And he's just waiting like, okay, I'm trying to see when she's going to come out. You know, she's getting freshened up. So he says when she comes out the room, she is dressed up and she's walking from the back of the house into the front. Now, as she's walking slowly. And all of a sudden, you know, she's looking beautiful. The outfit she has on is beautiful. But he says all of a sudden, her face starts to change. So her face changes and she begins to levitate off the floor as she's walking. So it's almost like she's coming towards him, but she's floating. She's floating off the floor. I'm going to show y'all an image kind of like this. So she's floating off the floor, literally floating. So my uncle says, you know, he gasps, he's scared. He's like, he gets up, he gets his shit, and he gets out the front door. Oh shit, he gets out like just in time. He ran out that front door. He got in his car. He just said he just couldn't stop breathing. He hurried up and started his car and drove off. By the time he made it back to where the family was, where we all were, he pulled his brothers aside. He said, man, I went and met up with that woman. I don't know if she was a witch. I don't know if she's a voodoo priest or what she was, but that bitch was floating through the air and she was coming towards me floating and shit like that. My uncle said, shit, never again. Never again. Ain't messing with these Louisiana women. Even though they were Louisiana people too. He said, never again. I ain't messing with these Louisiana bitches. Not no more. It scared the socks off of my uncle. When I tell you it scared the socks off of him, oh my God, that was the funniest story. So of course it got through the whole family. My uncles told my aunts told my grandma told us. Like, everybody was laughing during the family reunion, laughing about the story that happened to my uncle when he was running away from that woman. He went out on a date with, because she literally started floating in the air. So yeah, these are just some of the stories I have from Louisiana. This was in Shreveport, backwoods, baby, that voodoo shit. Gotta be careful.